Alright, so Saturday, August 15th, 12:19. Thought I'd give you a tour of the garden. So start here at this big pile of wood chip that still needs to be spread. Come over here, and here it is in all its glory. So I'm trying to create a kind of a food forest, if you will. Everything you see here was planted this summer. So I think in April or May we started planting, and then everything has been planted since then. Before that it was just a bumpy grass field, kind of useless, not helping anybody, full of weeds. So I'm slowly trying to tame it, turn it into a nice productive garden, lots of fruit, lots of veg. So let's take a little look. Out here we got a lot of citrus trees that would usually be in the greenhouse, but I've taken them out to give me room. And this is a Myers lemon. I just got it a couple of days ago. It's got green fruit on it already. Hopefully it'll do well here. It's supposed to be one of the more hardy citrus. And here we have the pear tree. It was just a cheap one. It didn't have any fruit or flowers on it this year yet. Well, I mean, I'm sure it won't this year. And here, tiny little fig. It did come with fruit on it already. It probably would have been a better idea for me to cut them off to allow it to just put all its energy into growing, but you know, kind of want some figs. That'd be cool. And they have grown quite considerably. I think they're all just maybe a little bit bigger than this one. You can see they are growing, so hopefully they get enough time to ripen and everything. And over here, an apple tree. Forget the variety, but it has a single apple on it. It's just tiny little. I think it had 3 or 4 on them on it when I bought it, but they've since fallen off. But this one has grown nicely, so I'm looking forward to tasting that. And over here we have another lemon. This is a Eureka lemon. It's just got the one fruit on there. Not too worried about that. I'm sure it's gonna flower and produce lots of fruit in the future. There's a small pond I've built, and I think unfortunately it's gone below the surface, but there was a frog in here earlier. It's pretty amazing, you know, this pond's only been here for what, 4 or 5 weeks maybe 2 months at the most, and there's frogs and toads all over it. They're absolutely loving it, and there's, you know, insects all day drinking out of there. Now here we have an orange tree. I believe it's an orange tree. I bought this tree maybe a year or two, maybe a year and a half ago maybe, and it was it was really cheap because it was in a terrible state. It had one fruit just hanging off it, but the tree looked absolutely horrible. It was all covered in pests and it's all dried out and just gross. So it was nice and cheap. I bought it, and it's getting back to health a little bit. I mean, it's looking a lot healthier, but it hasn't put out any flowers or anything yet. I decided to plant it straight into the ground, as you can see. So here in England, can't usually grow citrus in the ground, but people have had some success in nice sheltered spots. I will be protecting this guy over the winter and see how it does, so stay tuned for that. Little rose bush that was already here. Cherry tree, planted fairly recently. Should have some nice cherries on it next year. And here we have a little tomato patch. There are tons of tomatoes in here, but let me find them. Here we go. Now I believe from the stripes these are all tigerellas. There might be a few different ones in there. We had some yellow plum, Brandywine yellow or something. There's a couple of different varieties around, but okay. And then here we have what they call a patio peach. So it's it's a dwarf peach, meant for growing in a little pot. You know, bring it in the winter, protect it, put it out in the summer. But as you can see, I've planted it in the ground. You know, risk it, see how it does. Give it a little bit of protection over the winter. It is full of peaches, but they're very small. They should really be, I mean, almost ripe at this time of year already, I would imagine. But they're tiny little peaches that are still solid. They have been swelling and getting bigger, but just very slowly. So I don't think we're going to see those ripen this year. They'll probably just drop off. And there's actually one on the ground there already. But who knows? And here we have some not very healthy tomatoes that are just stuck in there. They're just spares. They were all in pots, but I was just kind of put them in the ground and piled some wood chip around them because a few of them had fruit on. So you might still get a few tomatoes out of that. Not too bad. Ton of blackberries that were already here. We move up here. Now this is a pawpaw. And it is putting out new growth, which is good to see, but it hasn't done great. It's been nibbled by something. And then here we have trees that were originally here when we came. They're all plum trees, but they were all surrounded by this bramble, just completely taken over by it, so I had to cut all of that back. If you look here, they produced absolutely enormous plums that are quite delicious, and that one's ready to go. I'll eat that soon. Here, look at this. Amazing. And it took quite a while for us to realize that there were plum trees here. I was just looking up one day, spotted a green fruit, got quite excited, and then just spotted more and more and more and more and more and more. And then, yeah, they just recently all started to ripen, so that's great. Nice little view of the garden here. Come over to the chili plant. This is a couple years old now. I guess this must be it's either its second or third summer. I'm going to say second, but it's possible it's slightly older than that. Right here, well, the plan was to create a second veg patch, but I think I'm going to leave that till next year now. I'm sure there's all sorts of, you know, toads and bugs and all sorts of things living under there, so I'll leave it for this year, tear it up in the summer, and plant basically something like this. And you can see this is an absolute mess, but and it's all been, you know, taken over by bindweed here and there. There's tons of weed in this garden, but still, there's all sorts of lettuce here. I won't go through naming all of them. And then around the edge, we got zucchini or courgette, if you're in England. And just an absolute forest of tomatoes. We've got some corn back there as well. Now next year I'll create a proper raised bed, I think. Here's planted directly into the soil. I just sort of dug it up, churned it up, took out all the grass, and as you can see, a lot of weed has sort of sprouted through, but we've got a lot of different crop out of it this year, so it's been good. And the tomatoes are actually doing great, and underneath the tomatoes is all planted with carrots. I'm not really sure if that was a good idea or not, but you can see here a few of them are coming through, so we'll see if that works out. If you look down here, look at the size of this guy. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful tomato. Yeah, there are tons and tons of tomatoes in there, so hopefully they ripen up soon. Everything was planted a little bit late. Ideally it should have been planted about a month or two sooner, but I didn't get in here soon enough. And here you can see the giant zucchinis. They're doing absolutely great. I got to harvest a number of those. If I spin around before we miss anything, here is a plum tree that we have planted, a Victoria plum, and I've had a few of the fruits off it, but now the ones remaining are being eaten by wasps, which is fine, you know, I don't mind sharing. The wasps do a lot in the garden to eat all the pests and stuff, so that's fine. Come around here. This is a pineapple guava. It's doing absolutely amazing. It looks so healthy. Really, really happy with it. Hopefully it grows nice and big. And as you can see, I'm not entirely clear whether these are actual fruits or not, but they were flowers. And now they look like that. So I don't know if they're going to swell and ripen into fruits, but if not, I'm sure we'll do better next year. It's only been in the ground for a month or two. And then, don't want to miss anything, aloe vera. Here we got some herbs. This was all basil, but it's not doing any good now. Oregano, which is doing pretty well actually, but I'll plant some more elsewhere. Parsley, rosemary. Here we have a buddleia, or butterfly bush. So now you got to be good for the insects. Got to get your pollinators in, which is also why we have right here some lavender planted. That's hopefully next year it'll flower. Then I'll move over here. I got my lime tree again planted in the ground. Gonna have to protect it over winter, but I think it'll do quite well. Hopefully it doesn't mind getting too wet. I did plant it in I created some very sandy soil for it, so hopefully it has better drainage than the native soil, but I do think it'll be okay. It has, since being planted in the ground, produced some flowers here. So in the next, week or so, that one will probably open. And then you see there's a few more on there. So that'll be awesome. Hopefully get some limes on there. And then here we have aubergine or eggplant. Where is it? It's the flower. I think the flowers are really cool, really beautiful. Where is it? Here we go. How did I miss that? Walk all the way around the plant, right? There's obviously a fruit coming on. Look at that deep, deep purple colour. Absolutely beautiful. Can't wait to fry up some aubergine. Alright, and then this is, well, some form of citrus. It was a lemon seed I planted. We'll see what it turns out to be, or if it survives. It wasn't doing that great, so I decided to just stick it in the ground, see what it does. It's looked a little healthier since, but still not doing amazingly. And then, so we saw these come over here. This is some sort of ornamental peach. I think it should have nice flowers on it. Not too worried about it. It's pretty cheap, looks quite healthy. See what that does. And then we have a Chinese loquat that I bought off eBay. It's grown a little bit. Hopefully it'll do a little better. I'll put it in a bigger pot soon. This was a grapefruit planted from seed. So again, you don't really know what fruit, if any, it may produce one day, but not doing particularly great. These two planted from seed. So remember these. They're about a year and a half old. I'll show you another one that was planted at the same time, which is doing much better. But here we have this little bucket pond just outside the greenhouse. So, for the wildlife, they need water. You can see it's full of probably mostly mosquito larvae. It's not a problem. I haven't really been bitten, but you can see even here some dead mosquitoes. But yeah, like I said, I've maybe been bitten once in this garden this summer. There's thousands of mosquito larvae, but they don't seem to be a problem. I don't know, it's just not really hot enough for them to be an issue. But anyway, as we move on, that's the water butt rain catchment from the greenhouse. Here we have lingonberries. And there, some berries, and you can see they're all covered in flowers. So hopefully I'll have loads of berries, can make some lingonberry jam. If you're not familiar with lingonberries, they're a kind of, they're used a little bit like a cranberry. They're used to make sauce. They're very big in Scandinavian countries. Yeah, so I can't wait to taste some of them. They've been in there. They were one of the first things I got. So they've been planted pretty early, which is good. And here we have the strawberry patch, which I've just planted a few more in. It was a bit sparse and had a lot in pots like this, which I've fitted in. But you can see we're getting fruit. It's a little bit late in the season, but they're all still flowering, fruiting, so that's great. And you know, a lot of them get eaten by slugs and different bugs and insects, but they get a few off of there. And over here, the mother strawberry plant, which is, I think it was like 3 plants in a, it was like a hanging basket, and they're supposed to be like, what do they call it, like a climbing strawberry or something, but it's just, you know, strawberries try and put out these shoots to spread. So if you have it in a pot like this, they do all dangle down, but what they're doing is searching for the soil. So I've been planting them in there, and it's been spreading great. And next to that we have a number of different pepper plants planted this year. You can see they're all starting to flower, which is great. We got like jalapeno, cayenne, and I think these ones are actually bell peppers, which will be good. Right, back here we got blueberries. Number of different varieties of blueberries, so they were fruiting and flowering sort of staggered over the year, or well, over a couple of months. As you can see, we still got blueberries on this one. This one did absolutely amazing, delicious. And these plants, they've all finished fruiting and now they're just growing, doing great. All planted in tubs because they need the acidic soil. And here, some more tomatoes. Just spares. I got a banana plant here, trying out. That's obviously going to need protection over the winter if it even makes it that far, but it has grown a little and it looks nice. Probably didn't choose the best spot, but we'll see. I might try again next year if that one doesn't work out. Then we have another pawpaw, North American pawpaw. So that one's doing a little better than the other one, but still not brilliant, so we'll see how that turns out. Right, and then here we have a pomegranate, which my hopes are not too high for. This is how I ordered it online, and this is how it came. This maybe looks slightly worse, it's gone a little better, but not much. I don't see any new growth, so not too hopeful for that one. But right, I think that's everything outside so far. So let's head into the greenhouse, where we got a little more exotic. Alright, come in, shut the door. Alright, what's the temperature in here? We got 19.4 degrees, like that, 92% humidity. It gets really hot in here when it's sunny. Obviously today is quite a rainy day. Down here we got some aloes that I just spread. They're all actually doing great. I've hardly looked at them recently. But basically these things just constantly put out new shoots and try and spread, and they separate them and you just have more aloes than you need, basically. Right. Basil. Got tons of basil in here. Make a wonderful pesto. And here we have small shoots. These are all lemon seeds. Planted. They're all shooting. And you can see how different they are. So lemons are going to be, you know, if you plant a citrus seed, because citrus are all different crosses, they can be very, very different plants. But that's, you know, I guess that's for another video. We can get really into that. And down here, quite interesting, we have, oh, I got 4 minutes left to record, okay. Better speed up. We have papaya seeds. They're all sprouting, so I need to repot those separately. And here we have another little forest of tomatoes on the inside. And over here we have a okay looking passion fruit vine. It's the smaller one. Like I said, it's doing okay, not great. The basil. In there is another courgette or zucchini that I just recently cut. It was growing out here, produced loads of zucchini. It was absolutely great. I just recently had to cut that off, and I think back here, yeah, look at this. We have the first ripening tomatoes. So the yellow ones. There we go, that's a beautiful one. So they're doing quite well. I think next year I probably won't have tomatoes in the greenhouse. They kind of take over a little bit, but anyway. Calamondin citrus, the fruit's on. I bought this not too long ago, but it's been here for a while. It's been flowering and fruiting. It smells amazing. I'm yet to have a ripe fruit, so I don't know what they taste like yet. They're usually more for cooking. They're not really something you just eat. I think they're quite bitter. More lemon seeds planted this year from seed, doing great. This is supposedly a yuzu, which is supposed to be a cold hardy citrus from Japan. I got on eBay. We'll see. It looked like it was actually planted from a seed, but it said on eBay it was a cutting. That's a kumquat that I planted from a seed like a year ago, so that's not really doing anything. We got a mango seed here, just starting to shoot. You can see all the different stages of mango, so just starting to shoot. Bit bigger of a shoot come out of that one. Even bigger mango. And then this is the year or year and a half old one. The rest of these were all planted this year in very different stages. Whenever I eat a mango, try and grow it. And here we have another one. This one's weird, so long and gangly, so we'll see how that turns out. These are avocado seeds. This is an avocado tree. It's about a year old as well. Then at the back here, that is the passion fruit vine. Doing much better. You can see there's tomatoes actually interspersed in there, growing up the passion fruit vine. So that's doing okay. And then finally, hopefully I got enough time to show you this, is my lemon, planted from a seed, the same age as the ones outside, which are probably about this tall. This one is this tall, and it's put on all this new growth. This is recent. This is the past 2 weeks this has grown, maybe 3. They started just tiny little shoots, and then just boom, they will shoot out. This one's actually the biggest. This was new. It's doing absolutely amazingly. So I'm hoping next year, probably next summer, it will flower and then fruit, and we'll find out if we grew a tree that either has delicious fruit or not so delicious fruit. But I'm just fingers crossed that it will flower. That'll just absolutely be a dream come true. It's like I said, I think at the very most it's 2 years old, but I'm pretty sure this is its second summer, so about a year old. Yeah, just amazing, and the same age as those ones outside that are not doing good, and that one that's planted in the dirt. But anyway, so that's the garden. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will show you again soon.